Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for being here. Yves Citton is professor in literature and media at the Université Paris 8, Vincennes-Saint Denis, member of the Institut Universitaire de France and co-editor of the journal Multitudes. Yves Citton got his PhD from University of Geneva, Switzerland, and has received a Doctorat Honoris Causa from the Université de Louvain in 2018 and has been invited professor at New York University, Harvard, and Sciences Po Paris. We would like to start with a general question. Who are you, what do you do, and where?
So thank you for the invitation. Academically, I started with literature. I did all my studies in Switzerland in literature. And then I was looking for a job, and in Switzerland it's a very small country, so there weren't not so many jobs, and I met my wife, who was from living in the US, so I ended up having a job at the University of Pittsburgh, also in literature, in 18th century French literature, which seems quite a small field of expertise, but because I was in the US and basically as somebody from Europe, I was authorized in a way to talk about European politics, European history, European languages, whatever. So that gave me a lot of freedom to do whatever I wanted. So I studied history of economic thought, I studied Spinozism, I studied things that had nothing to do with literature. And then for some reasons I came back to Europe and to France, and I kept that habit of doing just what I wanted to do, even if it was not 18th century French literature. So I found ways to bring it back there, but also, so then I ended up studying media, attention economy, and diverse things like this, with always some link to what was discussed in the 18th century in France in philosophy and literature, but sometimes very, very far removed from that.
Interesting. And what is the focus of your research, if it's possible?
So yeah, it's very difficult because I go in all directions. In French, there's an expression which is tout et n'importe quoi, which means everything and anything. And usually it disqualifies you, because if you're a specialist in everything and anything, you're not a specialist and you're not somebody serious. But I like to claim that thing. Now, for about 12, 15 years, I focused more on issues of attention and now curiosity. So both from a sort of political perspective, economical political perspective in relation to media, what have media done in the 19th with the printed press, in the periodical, in the 20th century with radio and television, and now in the 21st century with digital means and smartphones and all that. How does that structure, how does that infrastructure the attention we pay to the world and the attention we pay to each other? So in a way, from these issues of attention, you can again wander in all kinds of directions, because attention is our interface with everything. So how you pay attention to sports, or how you pay attention to a book in philosophy, or how you pay attention to the movies or to politics, etc. So if I had to define one sort of area, it would be attention studies, and now more and more curiosity, because I think it's more interesting now to talk about curiosity than attention, even if it's related.
Yeah. So in what way is your research interdisciplinary?
Well, I'm not sure it is, because I don't know very much what interdisciplinary is. You know, because this is your center, that there are very different words. Interdisciplinary, to me, it thinks like, oh, you're from a discipline and I'm from another discipline, and we sort of build a bridge and we talk to each other, which is a good way to do it. And I think it's important in any case to keep a strong footing in one discipline or two. But I think you need to build a very specialized and very weird approach to reality. And then from there, interdisciplinary, to me, it means, well, I have this anchorage, I have this field of expertise, it's not enough. So I want to see how you, from another field, consider the same object. Now there's another word which I like maybe even better, which is transdisciplinary. And to me, transdisciplinary doesn't just mean, oh, we build a bridge from law to literature, which is good, but we try to see within literature where are norms, where are rules, where are things that could be law or procedures or judgments, etc. And in law, literature is everywhere in law. So to me, it's not just finding an issue that we will address, but seeing that we're all doing literature or we're all doing law, and that would be transdisciplinarity. And then there's another word in French with a friend of mine, we developed it a few years ago, on indisciplinarity. And this seems to be no discipline, but it's not the case. It's just, yes, we need disciplines, but we need to question the discipline as discipline. We need them, but most of the very important questions, they escape from any form of disciplinary view, or in my view, from any form of interdisciplinary view also, because they're more basic. We don't even think of them in terms of knowledge or in terms of discipline or research or whatever. And that's what I'm going to try to talk about today, is these premises of what it is to do work in the university. And to me, it's even a different level. So we called it indisciplinarity, but there were a lot of confusion because people thought, oh, it's to get rid of the disciplines, which is not at all what's meant.
Mm-hmm. One last question. Do you have any perspectives on the present and future that you would like to share with us in your research context?
Well, yeah, the perspective is the difficulty of having a perspective now, because I think it's very problematic now in 2025 in rich Western countries to be in universities, because our universities and our modes of working, thinking, teaching, learning, etc., really have one foot in the past, which is good, because we always come from the past, but it's a past that's very problematic when we see the effects of not just colonization, but just extractivism and science and technology. So we realize that our values, the values that our ancestors, that our culture built, they're wonderful, but they have major problems. And so I think our duty at the university is to try to find ways to negotiate other values, because these are not sustainable. And I find it very difficult to do this effort of questioning our core values, not just on an intellectual perspective, because that's what we used to. We write books, we exchange ideas, we have discussions, but on a practical level, what do we do in the university to prevent the world from really being messed up? In terms of politics, in terms of ecology, in terms of social inequalities. And I think we ought to do much more than what we're doing. I'm very, very humble because I don't know what to do, but I think we really got to think harder about not just how to think, but what to do. And this I feel in a way at a loss. So that's why I'm welcoming to talk with you here, because I think you're one of the centers who takes this seriously.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.